Okay, back again for the second video in Unit 3. We're going to look at the bottom of the first page, the characteristics of functions, and there's a lot of vocabulary here, and I'm going to try and make this as fast as possible, so you might need to watch it more than once. But this is the vocabulary. We're going to go through that, and then we'll do the examples. But domain, that's talking about the x values. The domain is the independent variable. The range, that's talking about the y values, and that's the dependent variable. The x-intercept is where it hits the x-axis. The y-intercept is where it hits the y-axis. Increasing is as you go to the right, it's going up. So it's up to the right. Decreasing means it's going down to the right. The maximum or minimum is either the very highest or the very lowest point on the graph. The end behavior is talking about the two arrows. So you want to pay attention to the arrows, whether the arrows are going up or down. If the arrows are going up, we call that infinity. If the arrows are going down, we call that negative infinity. And if it's one where the arrow is flattening out, then you need to name where it's flattening out, like at what number it's flattening out. And we do that with the y. Here, let me zoom in a little bit. We do that as the line y equals whatever the number is. And then that also ends up being your asymptote as well. And if you remember, that is the imaginary line, kind of described it as like a force field that's causing the graph to curve rather than continue on forever in an up or down direction. It's curving the graph, and that's what the asymptote does. All right, so take a look at this one. First thing, domain, it's going to keep going left and it's going to keep going right. So we say that the domain is negative infinity to infinity. The range is the lowest y, and the lowest that this is going to go is to -3. And the highest y, this is going to continue to go up forever, so that's going to just go on forever, which is infinity. The zeros, that's the same as the x-intercept, and it crosses the x-axis at 1, so that's 1, 0 for that point. The y-intercept is where it hits the y-axis, and that looks like -1, so that would be the point 0, -1. This graph is increasing the whole time. So from all the way left to all the way right, it's increasing. So when we say it's increasing the whole time, that means the whole time. It's not decreasing. We don't have a highest point, and we don't have a lowest point. So that doesn't apply. End behavior, I don't know, sorry, I don't need that line right there, sorry about that. Okay, we have two ends. The right end is the positive side, so this is talking about the right end. All right, the right arrow is going up, so that means infinity. This over here is the left end, and I know that because it's when x is negative. The left arrow is flattening out at -3. And then that is because that's where the asymptote is. So that takes care of the first example. All right, moving on to the next one. This one I did not a curve, but this is a piecewise function because this is a couple of pieces here that are put together. So domain, it's still going to go all the way left and all the way right. So the domain is still negative infinity to infinity. The range, this is going to keep on going up forever. This one is going to keep going down forever. So that is still negative infinity to infinity. The zeros, that's the same as the x-intercept, and I have two of them. There's one out here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at -5, 0. That's 1 point. And then this looks like it's at 1.5. So 1.5, 0 is the other point. The y-intercept is right here. That looks like it's at 0, 2. Okay, this graph is increasing twice. It's increasing here and it's increasing here. So we have to write both of those sections. And what we're doing is, remember, we're going from left to right. So from way, way, way out forever left, we are going up. And it is increasing, therefore, from negative infinity. Here is where it changes. This is the only part of the graph that's decreasing. So if I can do the, oh, nope, gotta use a smaller finger. Right there we go. It is increasing all the way until we get to -1. So it's still increasing, still increasing, still increasing, still increasing. Then we get here at -1, it stops increasing and it begins decreasing. Now it's decreasing, 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 decreasing until we get here, and this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 5. And then at that point it starts increasing again, and it's gonna increase, 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 increase forever and ever. So that brings us to infinity. So it was increasing from here to here, it was decreasing from here to here, and it was increasing from here to here. All right, maximum point, yeah, we do have a maximum point right there, but this one is going to actually keep going on forever. All right, minimum point, yeah, we have a minimum point there, but this one is going to keep going forever. But this point right here is known as the relative maximum, and we will list that just because that tells us that there's a point in the graph that is higher and then it goes lower. It's not the absolute maximum, but it is a relative maximum. So we're going to go ahead and list that as -1, 3. So -1, 3 is a maximum. And then this point down here is a minimum of this little valley here. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, -4. So 5, -4 is a minimum. Oops, sorry, I'm off the camera. Okay, end behavior, we don't need that line. All right, this is the right side right here. So on the right side, the right arrow is going to infinity. This is the left side over here. This left arrow is going to -infinity. And there is not an asymptote on this one because it's not a curve. All right, that takes care of the characteristics, and that one was pretty fast, so you might need to go back and review that again.